Joining me now, Illinois Congressman Krishnamorthi, who's been outspoken about the need for police reform and is a co-sponsor of the Justice in Policing Act. Congressman, good to see you again this morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
Tell me what the road forward looks like, because this is not as partisan as some things. It's actually kind of surprising that there's bipartisanship on the idea that something has to happen. There is simply disagreement on what that something looks like. So tell me what this road looks like going forward.
Well, I think the road involves votes, and next week we're going to be voting on the Justice and Policing Reform Act. On the floor, there's about 230 co-sponsors, so almost the entire caucus on the Democratic side is supportive, so I imagine it's going to pass. And so the question is whether this would be taken up in the Senate and what Mitch McConnell's going to do.
You know, in the Senate, Congressman Tim Scott of South Carolina is leading the charge, and he actually said he was talking about his own fear as an African American of police. He says, even today, when I have the privilege of serving as the United States Senator, I'm not immune to being stopped while driving at home or even while walking onto the grounds of the Capitol. Each time I hold my breath, and each time I've been able to exhale and go about my business, thank God. He wrote this. There seems to at least be in Tim Scott, someone on the Republican side with empathy about what African Americans go through.
I think that's right. I think Senator Scott brings an important perspective in the Republican caucus. I think our big concern, Ali, is that the proposal that's been put on the table by the Republicans, led by Senator Scott, it seems toothless. It encourages reform, but it doesn't mandate it. And I believe that we're in a moment where the American people are demanding that these reforms be mandated. No chokeholds, no no-knock warrants, that there be a national registry for police misconduct, and that we finally do something significant and substantive with regard to ending systemic racism and its manifestation in terms of police misconduct and brutality toward people of color.
Congressman, I want to ask you one thing about the conversation I was just having with Mimi Rocha about the sudden, strange removal of the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York overnight. He says he has not stepped down, and he's not stepping down. He's not relinquishing these files. You're a member of the House Intelligence Committee. You've been directly involved with some of the things that have overlapped with what the Southern District of New York continues to look into. What do you make of this development?
I think first, they don't have the right to dismiss him. As you know, he was appointed by the Southern District of New York to fill this position. But secondly, and more interestingly, I think the reason why they're trying to terminate him is because he is hot on the trail of several allies of President Trump who've engaged in misconduct. For instance, he's pursuing a case against Rudy Giuliani. We've already seen the Southern District go after Lev Parnas and Igor Fruman. Remember those folks from the fall? And the fact that they've made these tremendous contributions to the president's super PAC and engaged in a lot of other misconduct, conspiracy violations, and campaign finance violations. I think that is the reason why the president wants to get rid of Berman, because Berman is hot on his trail.
Congressman, good to see you this morning. Thank you for joining me. Democratic Congressman Krishnamorthi of Illinois is a member of the House Intelligence and Oversight and Reform.